Guys, on this channel, I'm actually proud to say that you guys are actually some of the most educated people watching these videos. I already know some of you have studied from some of the world's best countries out there and you already have top-notch education. Now, most of you guys, you wish to start your own businesses sometime down the line, or some of you already have your businesses, right? And other people who are working in jobs are actually doing some of the top-notch jobs already. So we already know what kind of people we are dealing with. And I believe as I continue to grow, you continue to grow, mutually we all should grow together. That's why this research, this is exactly what I've been doing over the last few months, and I want you to have access to it. We're going to be discussing tax havens. Once you actually get through with your world-class education, once you actually get through with your world-class jobs or your world-class business idea, whatever you have, whatever stage you are in, or maybe you're already doing $1 million a year, who knows, right? So whoever you are, this is actually a genuine way to actually lower your taxes, make sure that they're close to a 0%, actually 0%. And this is something you can do no matter which country you are from. By the way, for people from the US, it's a little bit different. You're gonna have to renounce your US citizenship, you're gonna have to lose your green card, but for all the other people, it's the exact same that I'm going to be telling you. Of course, for the people from the US also, if you're smart enough and you're doing something that has basically net worth such that you can actually save hundreds of thousands of dollars every year in taxes, or millions of dollars in taxes, it may be worth it in most cases. And I've actually collated a very good data point over here, very good table that I want to show you guys, and it's going to have the exact tax havens that you can go to lower your taxes, bring them down close to a 0% in most cases. And I'll tell you which one I prefer the best. I think that it's going to be very, very motivational, very, very educational for you guys. And we're going to start right now. Before we begin, make sure to subscribe to this channel if you want more such content like this. So guys, before I actually begin, I just want to tell you that I have left out a couple of tax havens that you may have read about online. Tax havens like the Bahamas, Bermuda, Monaco. There's a couple more that I have left out. The reasons are as follows, and these are actually very, very important. These are some things that you may not have considered before actually considering, okay, I want to move to this tax haven. Why not Monaco? I think Monaco is the best fit for me. Well, here's why. Now, remember, all of these reasons are not just for Monaco. These are reasons that I have left out most of the tax havens out there. But the best three, the top three, I have built a table for them and you'll actually see them. But for now, the reasons are as follows. Some of these places have extremely high cost of living, extremely high. What I mean is the world's wealthiest people are living over there, and they've just made it such that the cost of living is so high that you would probably feel poor over there, even if you're doing $1 million, $2 million a year. Monaco is actually one of those places, and you want to stay clear of that place. Secluded location. These are very, very far away, very difficult to get to, and it's probably not going to be easy for you to even get to them in most cases. An extremely high import duty. So they're advertising it as such that, hey, this is a tax haven, you don't have to pay any taxes. But when you're going out and you're getting, I don't know, a bag of chips for yourself, you're being taxed 25% right over there, which doesn't make sense because these things you're going to actually purchase daily, right? You're going to have your groceries either way. So it doesn't make sense to me. Lack of financial development, one of the biggest reasons. Some countries, they are great tax havens, but when it comes to banking, when it comes to payment gateways, they won't be able to support you. And even now, if you don't have a business and you want to just go ahead and work overseas in one of these countries where you want to accumulate wealth, right? You want to accumulate wealth in your bank account and you want to grow. Well, most of these countries, again, they won't really have those banks that will help you with the business setups. They won't really have those payment gateways that will help you accept payments from other countries, and that's going to be a huge problem. Next, there's lack of safety. Well, this is actually not a major reason that I've excluded some of the countries, because most of these tax havens are actually already mostly safe. But some of them I have excluded them. Not these three that I mentioned previously, but there's others that I excluded because of this. Then of course there is lack of jobs. I know a lot of you guys are going to be looking for jobs when you go overseas to these countries. It's my responsibility to tell you, not all of these countries are meant for people who are interested in working for jobs. A lot of these are just for businessmen who are interested in doing business over there. And I understand that while you may want to start a business sometime in the future, maybe in a year, 2 years, you still might want a job right now, depending on your situation right now. So it doesn't make sense right now, and that's why I'm leaving those out as well. So now that we're through with that, I've explained why certain countries may not be present in this list. We can actually move on to the top 3 countries that I want to tell you about. And I think that these will actually really change your perspective. Look, you only have one life, right? You can actually do a lot of things with this, right? You can actually go to different countries, save up for 5 years, build your net worth, and then come back to your own country. You can do something like that. Or you can actually keep traveling into different countries. It really depends on who you are, what your situation is. Do you have to take care of your parents? Do you have a family, right? So it really depends on that, how much stability you want in life, right? All of that will come into the picture when it comes to the next 3 countries that I'm going to be talking about. So listen carefully, because this data it's actually incorrect on some of the most popular websites. Like on Wikipedia, I saw some of this data was not really correct, or some of this was omitted, not exact things were mentioned, things have changed, and the data was not updated. I've given you the updated one over here. So the first one that I'm going to be talking about over here is Cayman Islands, one of the most popular choices amongst businessmen today for jobs. I don't really recommend this one if you're looking for a job. For the most part, I wouldn't say that this is the best option you have. Again, the best option will be the third one in that case, right? So Cayman Islands, the advantages: corporate tax 0%. That means that if you are running a company, you don't have to pay any taxes to the government. Then there's the income tax. That means if you are earning from that company, or if you are working a job in Cayman Islands, you don't have to pay any income tax. That's 0%. VAT, GST, sales tax. If you go ahead, you want to buy a packet of chips, you want to buy some, I don't know, crackers, whatever you want to buy, right? It's going to be GST or VAT or sales tax that you're going to be paying. That part is again 0% for Cayman Islands. Capital gains tax. You invested your money in the market, you got a 30% return. You keep that complete 30% return. You don't pay a single dollar in taxes. Stamp duty, the most important part, which most people actually do not even think about. They don't go ahead and mention this. Wikipedia has not mentioned stamp duty, and this is one of the biggest reasons you should avoid some countries. Stamp duty in Cayman Islands is 22 to 25%. So sometimes when you're going out for lunch, for dinner, you're paying not only the price of the food, which is of course going to be overpriced, since you know they are basically importing most of these things. They're not really growing anything over there, right? These are mostly islands. These are very small. If you look at their location on the map, you are actually going to see they are very, very small. It's pretty hard to actually get a flight to them from most countries, and when you do get a flight, they're very, very costly. When you go over there, you'll see that most things are already overpriced because, well, they're importing everything. They have to charge stamp duty from you only, so that's why. And on top of that, if you're going to a restaurant, you're paying for food, etc., etc., you're going to find that most of the food is also overpriced. On top of that, you're paying 22 to 25% stamp duty on most things. So, you know, that's basically one major reason to avoid Cayman Islands in my opinion. Again, this basically is in direct proportion with your cost of living, which again, Wikipedia has failed to mention. A lot of other websites have failed to mention this. The cost of living, again, in US dollars only, I'm going to be mentioning all of these costs, at Cayman Islands is close to $3,400 per month, which is really, really high for such tax havens actually. Now, of course, this is not to compare it with Monaco, which will have it as even higher, but again, this is still really high, right? I mean, if someone is doing around $100,000, I would like to see that they should be able to live comfortably and not still living paycheck to paycheck, even though they are in that country to basically save up, pile up money and build their wealth. Doesn't make sense to me. So Cayman Islands, while it is in the top 3, I would leave it out for now. British Virgin Islands, one of the most popular tax havens, again, very close to Cayman Islands itself. And let me tell you one of the biggest reasons this is on number 2 on this list, and that is KPMG. I'm sure you've heard the name. KPMG is actually a BVI company, British Virgin Islands company. So you can see that biggest consulting firms in the world, which are basically working online now, right, offering services online, are already in some of these tax havens. There's of course more countries. I haven't done all of the research on all of the countries out there, but you know, KPMG, one of the biggest names, you should know it, based out of BVI. Right? And don't worry about, oh, I know that KPMG is also registered in so-and-so country. They have to be registered in multiple countries, right? Of course, that's how it works. But for tax purposes, they're using BVI. So again, moving forward with the table, corporate tax rate, 0%. Income tax is 0%. But what people do not mention to you on Wikipedia or on other websites is that you may be paying up to a 14% payroll tax, and you have to really understand who's paying this, whether it's the employee, employer, whether it's a mix of them. Both of them are paying a little bit. You know, one is paying 5%, one is paying I don't know, 8%, something like that, right? You can actually do this and do your research on this, but up to a 14% tax that you're still paying on your income, which does not make sense. Why do you want to go ahead to a country when you still have to pay that level of income tax? Of course, if you are a business owner and you are the only person staying over there, and basically you don't really mind paying that much amount, and you're not really employing most people over there, you're not really basically employing anyone, then it makes sense. If you're the only person in your company, right? It makes sense, right? For tax purposes, if you're a a business, it makes sense. But for employees who are going to be going over there, again, job opportunities a little bit lesser while they are there. But still, the main point over here is 14% payroll tax. Is it worth it? I don't think so. VAT, GST, sales tax is 0% again. Capital gains tax is 0%. Again, very, very important over here for high net worth individuals who are hoping to invest in the markets, etc., etc. Stamp duty, 4 to 12%. Again, very important criteria over here. You're going to be paying a stamp duty of 4 to 12%. I already explained what stamp duty is. Please don't make me go over it again. You can go ahead, watch the last portion of the video. I'm sure now you understand what I'm talking about right here. And cost of living is around $2,500 per month. Decent enough if you are doing a good amount in sales, then it makes sense, because only people who are doing a good amount in sales, or only people who are actually earning pretty well, are going to be considering these tax havens for the most part. So that's fine. But if you're working a job now, I'm going to be telling you about the third alternative, which actually may turn out to be your best bet. And this is personally what I chose. This is personally what I would recommend. You know, if you are watching this video, I would love to see you over here sometime. I'm actually in Dubai right now, and I think that you should actually benefit from the same knowledge, the same research that I've done over the last few months. So of course, in case you didn't guess it yet, it's UAE, United Arab Emirates. Let me actually go over the table first. I'll go over the advantages of UAE in a separate video. If you want, you can comment down below. I'll make a separate video on it with the exact advantages. But for now, take a look at this. Corporate tax, 0%. Now you'll see I have a star over there next to it. Let me just explain what star is. So the UAE recently announced that corporations will actually be taxed at 9% of their basically sales, that they have to charge 9% corporate tax. Now, this is actually from 1st June 2023. Now you're going to be telling me, yes, but you're saying that this is the best one out there. Why should we go for this now? Well, this is actually for mainland companies. If you actually come here and create your own company, or even if you're coming here for a job and later on you start your own company, you won't have to pay this 9%. Simply because you're actually going to be operating a free zone company. Again, I'm going to be going ahead explaining these things in a separate video if you want, Dubai video if you want, or UAE video if you want, comment down below. But again, you basically will not have to pay this tax. And even for mainland companies, even if you have a mainland company, which by the way, you most probably won't, because there's a lot of restrictions on that and a lot of reasons. I personally did not go with that one. But even though you may have one, still, if you're doing 375,000 dirhams per year, you don't have to pay anything up to that mark. So only above that you have to pay. So again, very important over here. So please take a note of that. And of course, this is applicable from 1st June 2023, not 2022, 2023. Coming to income tax, 0%. You'll see I have 2 stars over there. Now, why I have put these is basically because if you are someone who is hiring a UAE national, all right, you're an employer, or you're basically someone who's staying in the UAE and earning in the UAE, right? You're doing a job in the UAE, because there's a lot of jobs out here. You're going to be able to do those. But again, let me get back to that later on. I'm basically deviating. If you're one of those people, basically, you know, UAE national only, by the way, who is working a job or who is basically hiring other people, then, only then, you have to pay 5% social security as an employee and 12% social security for that employee as an employer. This is, of course, on their salary only, the percentage amount, of course. But this is only for UAE nationals. And chances are, if you're a UAE national, you're not watching this video, right? I'm pretty sure that almost 100% of you are not UAE nationals, because otherwise you wouldn't be watching this video. So if you're not a UAE national, you can actually come down here and your income tax will be 0%. No matter whether you're doing employment, you're in jobs, you're actually a business owner, whatever it is, 0% it is for you. VAT, GST, sales tax is at 5%. This was actually introduced in 2018, 1st January. Since then, there has been 5% VAT, GST, sales tax. Up till then, there used to be 0% of it. So let's talk about now 5%. It's actually not that bad. I mean, if you're basically buying just some groceries, some milk, etc., etc., these items will be the ones that will be taxed. You won't actually be paying tax on any other thing. So basically, groceries, lifestyle, you're paying taxes in most countries. And of course, the level of living, the lifestyle is actually much better over here. So it makes sense, even if you're actually paying 5% VAT, GST, whatever it is, right? And in most cases, right, this is only on a certain amount of things you have to buy, right? This is not on your rent. This is not on something else. This is basically on the small expenses that you have, the groceries, the basically daily need things that you have to buy, right? 5% over here, of course, it's a con, but it's a con that I will choose to live with. Capital gains tax, 0%. Stamp duty, one of the only countries out there, 0%. this is huge. If you don't really see the potential, you really gotta understand stamp duty 0%. It's a really big deal, and the cost of living is again close to $2,500. Again, it depends on your lifestyle, your choices, etc., etc., and it can go up from here as well. It can be a little bit down as well. Depends on your choice of lifestyle. This is just an average. And one more thing before you go, I want to explain to you the importance of payment gateways. Let's say tomorrow you are opening a business in one of these countries. Most probably you're going to want to accept payments online, right? Well, for that, the banking, the payments, everything is top notch in the UAE. There are extremely high number of jobs, and I want to make a separate video on this and explain all of these things to you. You know, what kind of, why payment gateways, but I'll just go over the payment gateways quickly in this video. If you take a look at the payment gateways in the UAE, you will find that there's a lot of decent payment gateways that have moved over here. Stripe is offering payment gateways over here. Checkout.com. There's, of course, crypto ones. I don't really think that you should really be directed towards those. There's 2Checkout. I don't really prefer it a lot either. Their team is not responsive. Amazon Payment Services, they're here, but Amazon Payment Services again has some limitations that, okay, you can only transact in the UAE, etc., etc. But again, a lot of these, like Stripe, personally, I think that's one of the best, right? Worldwide payments you can accept. Checkout.com, worldwide payments. There's, of course, a lot more. You can do your research. There's a lot of these out here. PayPal, of course, is also over here, right? Then when you come to Cayman Islands, right? Cayman Islands, right here, you can see that most of these are actually not really supported. There's no Stripe, there's no Checkout.com, there's crypto payments. I don't think these are the ones you should rely on. There's 2Checkout, again, team not responsive enough. I don't really think that's something that you would like to work with. Skrill, again, it's not exactly as good as Stripe. It's a separate thing. It's not exactly a payment gateway directly. It's different, basically. And PayPal, again, is there, but PayPal is not really good enough for scaling your business if you're interested. PayPal does not really prefer to support its merchants as much as I've seen other payment gateways do. So I would never prefer it, right? Same thing with British Virgin Islands, even lesser over here. So you can see really why the UAE is actually one of the best financial centers in terms of banking. Whatever you need, they will basically be able to do it, and they'll be able to do it in the right way. So that's what I chose. That's why I'll also recommend it, and I can make a separate video on this if you want. There's a lot more that people don't really consider before moving overseas. They just take a look at the tax rates and they come, and later on they realize, oh, this is not what we expected. And that's really what I'm trying to protect you from. If you're interested, we can do a one-on-one session as well. You can shoot me a message on my Instagram, and I'll be very interested to take your case. If you're interested, I'll be happy to help you with my contacts, etc., etc. And for now, subscribe to the channel. It's a long video, I know, but I hope that this helped. I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye and take care for now.